Hello, good morning. I'm very happy that I have the possibility to speak with Dr. Antony Collins, one of the nearest, or probably the nearest co-worker of Jane Goodall. And we are here in Gombe, where there is since 1960 this chimpanzee project. So, uh, uh, Dr. Collins, Dr. Antony, would you like to tell us how you came here?
Guten Morgen, or Guten Abend, I don't know what. Thank you, yes. Well, first of all, I'm very happy to say that you've been to see chimpanzees this morning and you've seen many of them and
Yeah.
things have gone very nicely out there. And I hope you learn many things from them. Because seeing chimpanzees in the wild is something different from seeing them on the TV, seeing them in the zoo. To see them do that right there, living their life in their families is really wonderful. Yeah, so I came here because I studied zoology in university, and the best part of zoology is the behavior of animals, animal behavior and ecology, but especially behavior. And the most interesting behavior was primates, like monkeys, baboons, chimpanzees. So I was very lucky to get a job with Dr. Jane Goodall to be her assistant here in Gombe in 1972 when I was fresh from university.
Oh, directly from university. Okay. How did you dare to go as a young scientist to go to such a prominent place?
Well, um, there are two aspects to that. One of them is I thought all the people who are here would be very serious academics and professionals. My idea of scientist is somebody in a white coat in a lab. So I kind of thought those people are I'm going to be with these people and we won't be able to understand each other very easily. But in fact, they were different from that. Field workers are different. They're rough types. They're like commandos. They like to live in the bush. And so we all understood each other very well. And also for me coming here to live, it is not a challenge because we've got this huge lake, Tanganyika, the deepest lake in Africa, and these mountains on the Rift Valley um, coming steeply out of the lake, covered with forest. And I come from Scotland, so those things of lakes and mountains are all together in Scotland anyway, so I felt very at home. But the advantage here, of course, is that there are lots of monkeys, baboons and chimps and tropical forests, so it's somehow more interesting than Scotland. Excuse me for saying that.
Okay. And how did that work? Did you write a letter to Jane Goodall or?
Yes, I wrote to her, and I was lucky to get an interview because I happened to know her mother because I was at school near where Jane
Oh,
Goodall comes from, and I
okay.
met her mother. We did what is called natural history exhibition, where we were showing live exhibition of snakes, frogs, rats and mice, and learning about birds. So I knew her already. So I I told her that I was writing to her daughter, and she asked Jane to look out for my letter,
Oh, I see.
and I got to interview. And you know, I was very lucky because when I started my job in Gombe, one of my responsibilities was to open the mail of Jane Goodall herself to
Oh,
see
I
if there's
see.
anything urgent. And I saw letter after letter after letter after letter, just like my letter,
Okay.
people applying for work,
Okay.
and people better qualified than me. So I knew very well I was lucky to get the job.
Oh, I see. And how did the interview took place here, or was it in Europe, or?
We did the interview in Jane Goodall's family home in England, in
Oh, I see.
Bournemouth. Mm.
And how was it when you arrived here?
When I arrived here, I was just told, you know, when to come, and I came. I took the public boat from town with about 100 other people, and I said, I'm going to Gombe, and they said, you get off here. So I got off, and there was one Tanzanian man who welcomed me. He said, welcome to Gombe, I am Moshi. And then he took me to see the Jane Goodall's researchers, and I found myself surrounded by about 15 Americans and Europeans researchers who were nearly all working on chimpanzees. So
Okay.
they were very welcoming, and it was very nice to be among them.
Uh, was what was the first kind of research with which you were occupied?
I wanted to study chimpanzee, but Jane Goodall said, we're full up. Too many people are applying for chimps now, and you can't come for another 2 years. But if you want to start now, this year, you can work on the baboon project.
Oh,
So I got a job to work on the baboons.
oh, I see. So all the years, you worked mainly on baboons.
Yeah, mainly. It's
Yeah.
like this. I arrived here, and there are like, let's say I can't remember, maybe 12 people working on chimps, and 2 people working on baboons. I joined them the third. Now, the chimpanzee people say, they imply that our work is not so important. It is not so charismatic as their work. We are the chimpanzee researchers, and your stuff on baboons is not so important. Anyway, it's not even difficult. You know, you stand all day on the beach watching the baboons, then you go for a swim, then you have lunch.
Okay.
And we're up in the mountains, forcing through the forest, trying to keep up with the chimps. It's very hard. So I had this feeling that this is disturbing. I must fight to defend the baboon people. But then when I got to know the baboons, it was even stronger, because when you see a lot of baboons moving around, you see something's happening, but you don't know what it is. But when you know who they are, you know who is the highest ranking female, who is her daughter, who is the lowest ranking female, who are their children, who is the alpha male, who is the old male who's been here for years, who is the new male who's just come in to join the group, and everybody hates him except the females who love him. So you really see there's a lot happening. And when you can identify each of them, you see they're all doing stuff all the time. It's like an unfolding story in front of your eyes. What you can see who's doing what with whom, who wants to do what with who wants to stop them doing what they want to do together. All kind of things are happening. So I decided from then on I could easily have changed to become a chimpanzee researcher, but actually I think the baboons need to have somebody to speak with them. So that is going to be me.
That's really interesting. By the way, in my work as a psychotherapist, I quote baboon things. I don't know much about baboons, but I quote it much more than I do the chimpanzees. For example, when I speak with people about the situation, how to cope with dangerous situations, and baboons are quite successful. For example, if they are attacked by other predators, and so far for understanding human behavior, I think baboons are quite useful.
Well, they are, because certainly in terms of defending themselves against predators, you'll find they will mob a predator. So what you really don't want to be is a leopard when the baboons have discovered you, because they will just chase you and chase you. Yeah. And actually, male baboons, 3 or 4 of them can kill a leopard. He might kill 2 of them, but anyway, they're very strong that way. But the main thing is in the females, in the families, because their group is a whole collection of related females who go way, way back to some great-grandmother, way beyond, and they're all the daughters, granddaughters, great-granddaughters of her. They live together, they move around together, they chase away other groups together, they defend themselves together, and so the kind of cooperation between them is wonderful. But you know, in any society, you can be cooperating, but you also have competition. Even in families, there's people fighting about this, fighting about that, and the question is how they regulate the stresses and strains of living together while also protecting one another.
I have a very special question about that. Did you observe baboons who were too cooperative? Because I think there has to be some kind of equilibrium between cooperativity and something like egoism.
I don't know how to answer the question, actually, because the females in the family cooperate with one another full time, and to say they sacrifice anything they sacrifice their own interests.
Okay.
I can't really say I've seen that, because what they've got is a very, very strict dominance hierarchy, whereby the highest ranking female, the number 2 is number 3, they're all one family. Then the second family, then the third family, then the fourth family, all the way down to the bottom. And they save each other competition by having this hierarchy.
Okay.
That is to say, two baboons one baboon might find a very precious food, maybe a mushroom or maybe some meat or something like that.
Okay.
And the other one wants to come and take it. Now they can fight over it.
Yeah.
Okay. If they fight, they both risk injuring one another,
Okay.
and they are not guaranteed to get the food. So they have a better system whereby they do not fight. So a low-ranking female has got the food. A high ranker comes. The low ranker just gives up and says, "Take it." She doesn't say it, but just gives it up.
Okay.
Because it's better to step aside,
Yeah.
go and eat something somewhere else, than
Okay.
to stay fighting.
Okay.
And so that is, they have a very strict system,
Okay.
but it works to the benefit of the low ranker as well as of the high ranker.
Yeah. Okay. Very, very interesting. I could hear a lot about that, but I have another question because we have so short time to speak about it. How was the co-working here with Jane Goodall and with the team here?
Yeah, we were working with a team which is a mixture of like grad students and some research assistants. And Jane Goodall herself sometimes was here, but quite a lot she was on travel. So there were times when she was here and when she was not here. Basically, the people you're working with here, they're very, very educated people, very easy to talk to, interesting things to do, to say, and all of them very much devoted to finding out, to answering their questions about the chimpanzees. So each person has their questions, each person is working on that, and there's not too much conflict of interest. When Jane Goodall came here, which you might say like she would come for 1 month, maybe twice a year, she would come and we would have meetings to discuss what is going on among the chimps, what is happening among the baboons, what is happening in the forest, and so on. That was good. At the same time, she would take each of us aside and say, "Tell me how you're getting on with your study." And you say, "Well, I've done this, I've done that, I've discovered these things, I'm really interested in something," and so forth. You tell her, updating what's going on. And then she would be very interested in what you said. She would take it on board, and she would come up with many ideas, many suggestions. In fact, she was very stimulating. She was a real inspirer of thought. So you've got your plan thought about how it is, and she adds a whole other perspective from her greater knowledge. And so at the end of it, when you've finished talking to her, your mind is buzzing. You say, "This is fantastic. I'm really going to do this. I'm going to do that." And you think of all the things you're going to do. And then about after an hour, you say, "Hold on. I don't think I can do all of those things. I must just concentrate on this and on that." And then, so she was an inspirer, and she gave you freedom to think and to decide what to do next.
Okay. There was never a riot against her?
I can't imagine any riot against her.
No.
I mean, one thing which happens in science is like, if you have a lead scientist, like Dr. Jane Goodall was the lead scientist here, or Diane Fossey would have been in the gorillas, whatever.
Yeah.
If you come as a graduate student and then you find something which maybe is not quite what your leader has said, you have to be very careful how you do that. You have to say, "Well, actually, I think maybe that thing which you found maybe doesn't always apply because I found something else, something else, something else." You have to be careful of that. So, but all the cases I know of, people were very kind, and she was very respectful of their alternative ideas. You can even agree to differ. You say this, I say that. Let's leave it, okay? We'll see what the baboons will tell us.
Okay.
Because she always said, if you have a question, the animals will tell you. Like, don't ask your companion, don't read in the book, don't go to the professor. Watch the animal, watch the baboon, watch the chimp, and they will tell you the answer.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think we will stop this part of the interview because I'm really interested to speak about about the other theme, which is of course connected to that. The other theme will be another video, and the other video is more about infant behavior and some very cruel things, which I only this time heard from Dr. Collins, that the chimpanzees even kill sometimes their own babies, not only the babies of baboons. That will be the interesting thing about the next interview, which we will make straight after that one.